Hello everyone, and welcome to the SWC Round 2. What I wanted to do on these introduction videos, which some of them might be done already, is I just wanted to go through a little bit of what the maps look like, how they're set up, how different teams might approach different scenarios, and just to help the community in general to have opportunities just to talk down below in the comments about different strategies to attack different setups. I firmly believe that the more the community talks together, the more interesting and better the overall gameplay is. So I'm just going to pull back over to day 1 on here, just the way we have that pulled up on the map, and I'm also going to have a different map overlaid in just a second over the backdrop of this video. But what we're seeing here is you've got Team 1 versus Team 2, and I'm not going to get too much into which team is what, but you've got, you have Sweden, Germany, Italy, France, and Morocco on the one side, and on the other side you have Spain, Great Britain, Russia, Austria, and Ottoman. So there's very clearly some very obvious advantages and disadvantages to both sides. Team 1 is actually on the outside edge here, and Team 2 is one that holds the center. So some very interesting things to note is that the oil actually seems to be split up, and why I say this is Morocco's got the vast majority of the oil in the game, but UK has a lot of coal, which they can use to offset and decrease oil consumption, and Russia also does have oil production as well. So between the two of those, they're able to get a nice solid balance of oil, so you're not exactly cut off there. You have the two main grain provinces are split between the two countries, that's France and Russia. You have materials that are split between Germany and Austria, so overall it feels like the map is fairly balanced. Grain is fairly even, fish is fairly even, iron ore tips a little bit just at a glance towards Alliance 1, while lumber, I would say, is probably going a little bit more towards Alliance 2. But definitely you have oil and gas, which are leaning towards Alliance 2, and coal. So you have energy leaning one way, materials leaning the other, and food being a wash. Which means that you would expect probably Alliance 1 to be more defensive just because of what they have, and Team 2 to have to be more offensive, but also trying to play for a late game. If they're able to play for a late game, once the oil disparity is able to work into your favor, in my opinion, just to get you better as you go through factories as well. And also more armored cars that you're able to push out, mainly just due to that oil disparity. But with the food being even, Team Alliance 1 probably has the advantage on being able to get cavalry out. But overall, I would say that personally, it's a tough call. It's a tough call on who would take the edge on this. So I would lean back a little bit more into positioning, right? So next thing you have on positioning is you have Sweden, and you have this giant chunk in the middle here, where Morocco can't really get pressured because of Spain pressures or UK pressures. Then they're open to landings and counter invasions from the other side. So Morocco is able to keep, in my opinion, fewer troops at home, and they're able to send troops into the continent as well to help out there, or to place pressure on these islands as well. Ottoman is going to be needed likely up here on this Austrian front, just because that front is going to be so long and they're able to bring so many countries there. It makes it difficult. With Russia, you do have that choke point down here. Just going to switch over to this map quickly. You have this choke point where you're able to get solid defensive positions right up along here. If you take the bottom half of Finland, you can even add these provinces, like these provinces here, or this bottom half makes it even better defensively. Tornia isn't really helpful for Russia defensively, and Kendalishkaya, if you zoom in right here, you can see this actually close enough that you can set up a mine. So you can actually hold that defensively, where Tromsø is just too far off. So the north of Sweden is exposed, but there are ways of going through Finland, which could definitely put pressure on St. Petersburg and just force changes on the defensive alignments. In my opinion. Let me just pull this back up. As well, you can see you probably wouldn't be able to get as much pressure through into Germany through Poland just because it's so tight, especially if you're just abandoning this top province here and pulling back. That just closes off that entire gap there. AI captures definitely favors Alliance 1, mostly because you've got all the Balkans that are available right there. And you can also make a move on Poland, half of Portugal, and it's easier for you to make a move on Finland as well if you want, or on that coast of Denmark. That's where I'm at. So I'm a little bit torn on how this would go, just based on the setup and how different moves would go. Let's just take a quick run through the different days, just see if there's anything that jumps off. So as you can see, Balkans gets cleaned out. So Alliance 2 managed to take out Belgium and this capital here, as well as Switzerland. So that closes off that gap into France right there. This side of Denmark gets left alone, as does Poland, but you can see that they're pushing through. They push through the north there. So let's just take a quick look, actually, because that'll be into Germany. That would actually show up on the previous days on day 2. So let's see what happens. So German Empire goes up into there, but it takes about 11 hours. It takes about 11 hours to make those captures, and then they've got to push back. So looks like they were empty provinces that they just walked into and captured. And the reason why I'm saying it's empty provinces is because at the end of the day, you don't have any kills showing up on either side. So they probably were trying to pull back just to a new defensive line. Is honestly the best explanation we can give for that. And that's what I was saying about when you're going through Poland. But with that push up here, you're really tightening down your defensive availability, especially with Alliance 1 that has all of that AI in the Balkans to capture. You're just really putting yourself more to a negative VP points hole. Let's just clear off this one here. Let's see. Balkans, so this gets closed off. We saw that earlier. Not much difference there. Not much to. So Russia pushes through the top. So you can avoid that top province, but it looks like they captured it anyways. You've got some fairly even kills going through with France around and into Barcelona, which is not showing up on that map. Sweden and Russia 16 and 22, so it looks like Sweden had 22 troops holding Tournai up there. Let's see. Here's where it shows up. So Sweden recaptures that northern province, but you're starting to see a landing from Morocco into this end, and France pushes down. So that leads to that's essentially it for Spain. Once you break through that defensive line there and you get a landing, you don't really have the defensive backup positions behind there, which just really puts into a tough spot. As you can see, that 1,000. Oh, there's actually still up, so 1,064. But this could easily be a map where you see it changing. As you're seeing right here, the gap's closing up. They take the top province up there. Once you take Kandilskaya, you can cut through the top here without attacking any provinces and take the gas province there. This right here is just highlighting essentially what we said. Once you land and once you shoot by it, there's just nothing behind there blocking you or holding you in. Let's see, after that, that's probably a revolt back to it, and then you get the next province that gets taken. This starts to create pressure on Russia on the back end. And you can still hold it back defensively there, but it's hard to defend both of these. It just gets to be a lot harder to play defensively. You can not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying it's tougher. As you can see here, though, it looks like the province went back to Russia, meaning that this group is isolated. Depending on how many troops they have inside there, that could be a pretty difficult situation to hold on to. Let's see, next up I believe is day 10, so that's where we are right here. Spain just has a little cluster. That's going to be the fort, that's going to be the capital. Probably holding on more troops into the capital, probably a higher level fort. Something that a little bit more nervous about tossing troops into, but with one entire country gone and pressure, so that's going to be causing morale issues up here, and with that more than offsets Germany being smaller. So what you're seeing is that Alliance 2 is now jumped up 1,055 to 877. Let's just take a super quick look at the morale map, just to give us that extra look as to, just to see if it sort of matches up to what we were expecting to see. Morale issues in the top up here. You've got actually morale issues down here too, so that's probably indicative of either spies or economy. Let's see. Spain is collapsed, but they're still holding on. But morale is definitely an issue in these two areas. Just tough spot to be in, but Ackeron's holding on well. And this is interesting that you have the capital of Constantinople that's so low morale. Let's see if those are spy hits that are coming in. I'm actually quite curious about that now. Spy. At least 3. Considerably more were there before, so you've got more. Yeah, so they've had quite a few spies inside there hitting them. Honestly, I'm surprised that they let it get down that low and over 2 days without doing more about it. Just because you clearly have spies there, your morale's dropping. That's something that you should be keeping an eye out on. Anyways, thanks for checking in on Battlecry Academy versus Cadetti. So actually, Cadetti had won this one, 1,042 versus 880 versus Battlecry Academy. So let's just take a look to see where it was at. Because it was on day 9, so Alliance 2 won. So that is the one here in the middle. So collapsing Spain and causing them the morale issues and the spy hits is where that split into on the end. So congratulations to Cadetti with that win over Battlecry Academy. So that puts Battlecry Academy at 0 wins and 2 losses, and Cadetti at 2 wins and 0 losses. With Taverne de Wendigos and Warriors of Valhalla going the opposite way, which we'll get into later on the next part of the series. What you're able to see is that is likely going to be a clinching scenario for Cadetti to move forward, especially just with the point differentials being a tiebreaker on there. So congratulations, and I'm sure once we get official confirmation on Cadetti moving forward to the next round, good job to you guys there. We head on over to the second map inside Group A. That is going to be Warriors of Valhalla versus Taverne de Wendigos. I'm just going to go right back to day 1. We already know who won this one, but we'll get to it in the end. So what you've got here is you've got Alliance 2, who, as you can see, is the one that won, and that was actually Taverne de Wendigos, versus Alliance 1, which is Warriors of Valhalla here on the end. So you've got your standard 2 chunks right there, and you've got some interesting little separations there, because neither team is really able to make a good push through on either side of their on either side in the middle because of the other side's ability to play into it. If France makes a move one way or the other, they're exposed to the other side. Same thing with that chunk in the middle. If they go one way or no matter which way they go, if you guess wrong or you flinch wrong, it's something which can be absolutely brutal and can just kill your game very quickly. Just to go through a little bit more, I always like breaking down resources a bit more, just sort of see where we're at. It looks fairly even on grain between Alliance 1 and 2, even though there is that Russia and France on the one side. You do have, it's not bad grain, but it's solid grain on this side, and it more than makes up for the shortage from Alliance 1 over here. Alliance 2 seems to have less fish. Alliance 1 also has slightly more slightly more iron. They have about the same number of lumber. I'd probably say that coal leans a bit towards Alliance 2. Oil definitely leans towards Oil 2, as does gas. So you've got probably more armored cars being played in for Taverne when it goes in the middle here, and maybe a strike force go through here, but it's kind of hard to see where it would be, where the differences are at. Neither side really has a solid edge on any of the AI, because all of them could be split down here as well, except for Greece, Portugal, and Denmark up here. Those are pretty much the only ones that you would see going just one way, but everything else is available to both. Let's just jump through the map quickly and just sort of see how things go. So, splitting the AI here. Portugal gets taken. This goes to Alliance 2. So it looks like Taverne de Wendigos was a lot more aggressive when it came to the AI. It looks like Russia tried to make that play into Poland, just to get Poland to open up gaps in the background there, and they tried to get that connection between the two here on the side. If you're looking inside there, it looks like Serbia got left alone, which is interesting. Knight doesn't usually get left alone, but there's nothing wrong with leaving it alone, especially if you have other focuses that are more important for AI captors. Let's see. Day 3, it looks like Russia just kept pushing through. So when I said that they had that opening there, that's going to cause issues for Germany. So it looks like Germany got pushed back solidly there. Italy was able to hold, pushing to southern France, and Austria got pushed into by both Russia and Ottoman down here on the south. I'm actually curious what the kills would be looking at over there. So Sweden pushed in on Germany from the north. Russia and Austria, not many kills. You're not seeing a lot of kills on there, which is interesting. It almost looks like they just pulled back, saving troops, and leaving Warriors of Valhalla on lower morale ground. A day change. There were also some spy hits that happened in Italy as well. Very aggressive start for Warriors of Valhalla. On the next day, Taverne de Wendigos pushed back into France. They lose a border province of Spain, and they've more or less seemed to have mitigated and stopped the bleeding on this side. It's the loss of provinces really slows down. Now let's see. So it looks like Italy went through the north as well. Tons of kills on both sides, but France takes more losses. Down here, let's see. I just want to see where some of the other big fights were at. Switzerland. Oh, that's Sweden and Germany. So it looks like a lot of small reinforcement troops by Sweden got killed out. That's a lot. Looks like it might have been a flower there that got destroyed. If you have that many there with small flower petals, that at the same time, that's probably what you could be looking at, is an overwhelming German hit back into Sweden, even though it doesn't show a capture. Let's see what else we have. I'm just looking for like big losses, big kill numbers here. Doesn't look good. Aalborg goes back to Denmark. Day 5. Oh, what? What is this? It doesn't say. So Alliance 2 was at 879, so you're probably seeing about a similar number there. You've essentially traded off France for half of Germany and Austria, but you no longer have to. You only have to worry about landings now on that side. There you go. So it looks like France surrendered at that stage. So France surrendered at that stage. I'm curious about. Here's the big one here. Austria-Hungary loses 42,000 but kills 99,000 from Austria. Or sorry, from Ottoman. That is a big hit on troop counts there, and it really severes the ability of Ottoman Empire of Wars of Valhalla to be able to break through on that side. Let's see what else we have floating around. Not much else, so that's where that was at. That's day 5, but after that you're just, because of the official surrender, you're pulling troops back and you're just capturing land super quick, so not much of an issue there. Day 5, 1,952 points. Getting to that 1421 right here by this time is very interesting because there's not much change. That's 500 points, but then this is just the morale jumping up super high. It is what it is. So it's interesting that just losing Ottoman's armies and France caused a surrender. I wonder if there was more that could have been done just to create pressure and to sort of redress the situation even defensively, because you do have still about half the map. I think you probably could have been able to make a move or make another play, but it's a very interesting scenario for how it went. Certain Wars of Valhalla and Taverne de Wendigos might want to put more. So if you guys have any insight you guys want to share on how that played out, feel free to leave something in the comments for us. Just as with the other map, I'm going to be leaving a picture of the original map in after here, and of course of the resource split and division at the start of the game, just so you guys have something to look at. Thanks for checking in, and congratulations to Taverne de Wendigos, and good luck to Wars of Valhalla on their next map. We head on over to our third map. This is the Shadows of War versus Alcateia Fantasma, and I'm just going to highlight that this is essentially two large blocks with one country on the outside just switched over, keeping it from being the fully large block. So what you're seeing is that there's, I'm just going to get into the AI quickly. AI, the Alliance 1 can essentially, which is Alcateia Fantasma, can essentially make that play on Portugal on both sides, a strong play on Belgium just because of the speed of getting into the capital, and as well as actually Switzerland actually favors the Germany hitting it, but you also have the island with the capital for Denmark, which is open, and Finland, or I should say this part of Denmark is open to both. All of these AIs down the Balkans, the Balkans and Poland, are leaning in towards Alliance 2. This actually just has some fairly balanced resources across the board, and it's something that was almost targeted when they were trying to select the countries. Grain is even, fish leans towards Alliance 1, iron leans a little bit towards Alliance 1, lumber is even, coal and gas lean towards Alliance 2, but oil also leans towards Alliance 1. So Alliance 1 essentially has a choice where they can go heavy cav, and they can also go heavy armored cars, which gives them a good benefit if they're able to work together on that just to get the resources to push through. But Alliance 2 has better defensive positioning. They've got they can just have that one short line here, They can pick up all of this AI here for maximum points but pressure on Alliance 1, and they're better able to defend their northern province over what Sweden is able to, if they're able to pull that off. There are a couple moves that can make things difficult, though. Like we mentioned, this part of the AI here can put pressure on Russia, but they have to rechange where they do their defensive plays. While Sweden could, in theory, be attacked, you also have essentially Morocco here and Spain, which are hidden and which can send troops wherever they're needed just to get more pressure anywhere along the line. Leave comments down, anything that you think should be tried or could be tried, and see if there's any lessons that can be learned from it. We can get more into... Let's get a little bit more into how things went through. So, as you can see, Balkans and Poland got taken out, but not Greece. This part of Portugal and Belgium and the AI up here were taken as well by Alliance 1. This part was left alone, so Morocco did not waste time down here. Let's see. After that, you see some pushback on the recapture here on the bottom, just to try to stabilize that. Would be my guess. Then you're pushing through along on the top. So this is something which is essentially what we think would be happening. Let's take a look and see what the kills are like on that front there. Let's see. We're looking for Russia and Sweden. Kills are pretty even, so nothing too crazy. It seems like people are just moving out of the way and avoiding large stacks from being hit. Heading on over to day 5. The recaptures and the push through. This has been fully stabilized. You do see islands being captured though, so there are some plays. Looks like Ottoman is moving in on those islands. Let's take a look at the kills up top between Sweden. So Sweden and Russia. So Sweden had significant numbers of more kills, and Russia had more losses. So that's why Russia's being pushed back there. I know a bit more on that, but I'm not talking about it just because there were some things that which were spoken of in alliance chats, which probably shouldn't be shared. We have Morocco and Austria at 32 kills apiece. France killed 10 of Austria-Hungary troops. So Austria-Hungary is losing more troops there, but no province is lost there. And a push is happening into Italy along the top through Venice, where there's a lot of kills there. Ottoman Empire took Cagliari, but they have more losses than Italy does. And here it is. So here's what we're seeing is day 6. You see that they jumped across the top. They take that one up there, and they land down in Greece. There was a landing over down here by Ottoman, but it looks like that had been kicked out. This front, though, has been stabilized, but then Russia just pushes through, and that's the end. Russia pushes through, Italy pushes through there. This front is still holding, but by this point it's just the troop losses that Russia took made it impossible to hold that northern border, which exposed the entire back end as well. Ottoman was also caught in Italy, and that landing in Greece was difficult to hold. Now, I do know that there was a surrender that was offered and accepted, or that was offered beforehand, but not accepted until points got higher up. The final score ended up being 1,460 to 485. That was the final score based on when the surrender was accepted. Now we just pivot over to take a look at Operations Blitzkrieg 2 versus Ordine Supremo Delle Aquile. The final score on this one was 1,030 to 707 in favor of Operation Blitzkrieg 2. Let's just take a look at the map and just play it out from the beginning. So what you can see is this is actually a slightly different map, and it's spread out all over. You've got Alliance 2 has this nice little chunk up top here, which allows them to work well together. Italy and Spain. So Spain is actually pretty well positioned because it's easy to defend there, because you just have coastline and that really short border. I like that there. It's easy enough to get scouts out where you can see on both sides of the UK, so you can sort of see exactly what the UK is doing. Italy is low enough that they can see where Ottoman's going. It really almost hinders Alliance 1's ability to do movements that aren't visible or surprise ones, which would allow, in theory, Alliance 2 to be able to get ready and positioned properly to make this work. Good teams make everything work no matter what, and good planning is able to override a lot of that. So let's get a little bit into the AI first. If I'm Spain, I'm probably trying to get right of way with Portugal, but if not, I want to be prepared to capture it. But it's one of those things where would be happy with either scenario. Same thing down here. You'd want to be taking that just because it allows you to control the landings coming in on the either side there. If you're down here, you're probably looking at Serbia no matter what, but you also want to keep an eye on any moves down this coastline here. It's also easier for you to take out all of Denmark if you're Alliance 2, and you can make a better play on here in Switzerland to connect Germany with Italy, but you're also probably giving up Belgium. The way the resources sort of split out on this one is grain seems to be even. Fish looks like it's leaning towards Alliance 1. Iron ore leaning towards Alliance 1. Lumber towards Alliance 2. Coal seems to be even. Oil leaning towards Alliance 2. Gas slightly towards Alliance 1, just by looking at the map and from experience. You can also get, I do believe that there's, oh yes, the charts that I'm putting up at the end of every single map. Those ones do show the breakdowns as well, just to make it easier. So what you're looking at is probably easier for Alliance 1 to make cavalry, and some difficulties to make armored cars for both of them, mostly because Alliance 1 has the iron but not the oil, and Alliance 2 has the oil but less iron. So you've got a little bit of difficulties with both sides for armored cars. Alliance 2 could go heavy lumber, and that would probably give them the iron ore that they needed. So they would most likely be able to go more armored cars if they wanted to and work together as a team on that. Let's take a quick look at how this shook out. So Poland got split between the two. Belgium went to Alliance 1. This is shocking, so I'm going to take a look at that later. And it looks like Alliance 1 took both of these there, as well as Serbia and one other AI. So there's one AI gap there, and they left Portugal down there. So let's take a look, see what happened to Portugal. So Morocco went straight for the capital and took it. And you know what? That's a good move. It gets you your landing. It gets you a landing point. It keeps the morale boost away from Spain, and just makes it easier to reinforce. And it honestly, that pressure right there, let's just take a look how many provinces you have around it. 1, 2, 3, so not as bad as I thought. Yeah, so not as bad as I thought, but still could be problematic underneath the right circumstances because you're essentially doubling up the area that needs to be defended. And now, instead of facing off against potentially 1.5 countries, I'm saying half because of the landings, you could be facing double the border and double the number of troops. Also, UK could land a whole stack down there as well, or go through France, and you don't know which way they're going, and you can't stop them reinforcing either one of them. But if you're too focused and locked in there, then you're opening yourself up to a landing. It can easily turn very problematic. Germany gets collapsed, and a slight expansion of Morocco. As well, the first province up here gets taken. And let's see, that AI stays down there. And there's also a push into the south of Russia. Who went into the south of Russia there? I think it's Ottoman. Yeah, so Ottoman went into the south of Russia there. So 7 losses, 34 kills. Seeing cavalry gets destroyed, but who does it? Armored car brigades for Alliance 1. So, I wonder if they went through the AI here because they still haven't attacked it. So, the first province to fall should have been... Actually, doesn't... No, you would probably still be targeting Kishinev anyways, just because of its location. So, pushing through the south there, day 4... Russia's collapsed, Germany's collapsed, Spain has a second entry point, and in my mind, that's essentially where you would see game, and there you go. That's where the surrender was sent and accepted on day 4. So we're going to take a look at Starsie Panowie versus General Estates del Mayor. What you'll notice is that it's the exact same setup as Taverne de Wendigos versus Wars of Valhalla. I'll just include a pin so you can go, or I'm going to try to include a pin so you can go back to that section of the video just to see the breakdown of what we had there. Let's just take a look through on what happened in the map just to sort of see where we're at. This map is still ongoing 9 days in, so they clearly did things different. So Alliance 2 starts off by taking the Portugals. It looks like the side provinces of Serbia. Poland got left alone, the capitals of Denmark, and Switzerland. And that really just blocks that entry point through there, but this protects Paris. So I can see exactly why that worked out. On the other side, Alliance 1 took Belgium, looks like the capital of Serbia, and the Danish provinces here. Doesn't look like there's any changes except for the island down here gets captured, and Greece gets captured as well, with the exception of the tiny island down there, which I'm sure will follow shortly. Let's see. An AI province gets taken down here. Gets recaptured. Not too many changes though. This island gets taken by Alliance 2. Poland gets taken out by Alliance 2, but the AIs on the side here gets taken out by Alliance 1. So they've got that land bridge. That potential opening through Poland is closed off. No other changes. Alliance 2 takes that last Greek island. I'm wondering if anyone takes Denmark up north. Nothing yet. And then Alliance 1 is up here, making that move up top on those other islands. So just slowly picking up everything that's available. As you can see, close game. Alliance 2 has a slight edge, 1,114 to 878. You would think that it's slightly leaning towards Alliance 1, but let's take a look at the morale map just to see if that's what's having any impacts on here. So, yeah, so Russia has a slightly lower morale. UK has an area with a smaller morale. A province was traded. So right here, so that puts it slightly lower morale, but it allows Great British troops to be here able to respond south or east quickly without losing morale. And these AI had been taken recently, so of course that's low morale there. So yeah, so Riga looks like it's Swedish, but I can't see where that jumped over. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments about how this could be played out, feel free to leave it here or underneath the Taverne to Wendigos 1 section, as those could be fairly similar, but as you can see, different ways of playing it. There was also tons of spy work hitting and affecting Russia, so that which definitely played a role. We head on over for Spregiuducati versus Ghost Company. This is an interesting map to look at just because of how the chunk play works out on there. What you end up seeing is Alliance 2 has a very strong connecting area here, and borders are honestly very favorable towards Alliance 2. So what we're able to see is that for AI captures, Alliance 2 pretty much gets the benefit of Belgium and Switzerland, all of these Denmark areas, if they're able to beat UK there. But probably at least the two northern provinces of Poland, while Alliance 1 gets the Balkans, Greece, and Portugal. That's essentially how the split would be. Let's take a quick look into the resources. For the resources, grain leans towards Alliance 2, fish leans towards Alliance 1, iron ore leads heavily towards Alliance 1, lumber is even, coal slight edge towards Alliance 2, oil definitely favors Alliance 2, and gas seems to be fairly even. So that's essentially what we're looking at here for the resource split. Let's just see. This is only on day 3, so Belgium went there. Nothing else went, but Portugal, Serbia, pretty much what we were expecting and calling the Denmark capital there. Nothing else has been taken except for this other AI down here, which is interesting. I would have thought you would have probably seen this taken out quickly, Poland taken out, and I really do not see or like Switzerland being left over, but that is just a matter of personal opinion, and I'm not playing, so that's something that wouldn't be an impact there. You see right here that one island has been captured from Alliance 1, so that's actually just where we're at. So Alliance 1, very slight edge in points, not much of one. The rebounding of capturing AI wouldn't have really come into effect, but also they've taken more, so they're in a better position there. Let's just see how the fighting has been going on between the two countries so far. Scouting, it's Romania being captured. Let's see, UK versus Sweden. Let's see where this is happening. That's just scouts being sorted out, so it's trying to gain dominance over there. Looks like Italy abandoned Cagliari for Morocco to take. That would free up more troops for the mainland, but you are giving up a province. That's hard to recapture. Yeah, so it doesn't look like there's anything with too heavy fighting. Just a lot of there's a lot of scout killing back and forth that's taking place, and quite a bit of spies as well. So that's something that works into there. So let us know in the comments how you think this one will go, just based on where it is and how that would shake out. Always interested in comments, strategies which could be done and worked out. Feel free to leave them there, and we'll head on over to the next map. So this map is Companhia Aguia versus Patto del Marre del Norde, and this map is done already. The final score is 1,771 to 38 on day 7 for Companhia Aguia. Let's take a look into how this map shakes out. So just to start things off, just take a look at it. You see that it's almost like 2 chunks, but Russia's is isolated. So over here, this is a very solid chunk. Russia's left alone on the side, kind of abandoned, but over here, the only AI you can really get: Belgium, Switzerland, Portugal. Not much else you really want to take a play or a stab at. This is actually quite similar to the Shadows of War versus Alcateia Fantasma, the only difference being that Russia and Sweden are switched and flipped sides on it. So Alliance 1 over here could take all of the Balkans unless Russia makes a play down, but with all their enemies around them, that's probably not a smart move to play, which would free up Denmark and Poland for Alliance 1. Resources, if you take a little bit more of a look into it, you'll notice that it seems to be like grain heavily favors Alliance 2. That's mainly the byproduct of France and Russia being on the same team. Fish is also leading towards Alliance 2, so very heavy cavalry possibilities there. Iron ore slightly leading towards Alliance 2. Lumber is massively leading towards Alliance 1. Coal massively leading towards Alliance 1. Oil and gas leaning towards Alliance 2. This map, the resources strongly favor Alliance 2. Whoever has that France, Spain, Morocco block is just going to be super powerful and hard to beat, especially when they get those cavalry rolling. And also the ability, like, they can push out more cavalry and more armored cars. It's just a really, really strong starting position there. So, as we said, Belgium and Switzerland going towards Alliance 2, Balkans going towards Alliance 1, this part of Denmark going towards Alliance 1. So looks like there were no surprises there. Push through along the top to take the top one, exactly the same thing that Alcateia Fantasma did. But down here you still have a lot of uncaptured AI. Even Belgium's not finished off yet. No other big wars though. Let's just see how Russia is doing. Is Russia fighting or is Russia just withdrawing more? There's a lot of diplo toggling back and forth, but as you can see, Russia's only lost 1,000, like 1 troop to Sweden. What this indicates is that they're just withdrawing, conserving troops, not trying to get drawn into a big fight. So they probably try to create their new defensive line down here. Next thing that happens, looks like AI revolted that way. The Alliance 2 push into Germany. That is the push that I was waiting for and expecting. France into Germany, 49 to 65. Close, but not crazy one way or the other. Then it's just the absolute collapse through it. The land in the UK, the land in Ottoman, pushing through all the way back into Sweden. Germany's collapsed. Austria's collapsed. The wheels fall off very quickly, and from that it's game over. The map finishes with just 5 provinces left for Alliance 1. It, quite frankly, was just a resource war, which they were on the losing end of from the very beginning. So congratulations to Companhia Aguia for beating Patto del Marre del Norde. we now head on over to take a look at the next map on this SWC Round 2. This is United Silesian Legion versus Nelva Academy. So United Silesian Legion here is Alliance 1, and Nelva Academy is Alliance 2. This map has finished already. The score is 984 to 956 for United Silesian Legion, and it ended on day 5. So I just, same as all the other videos here, AI splits. I think we can reasonably expect Portugal and Belgium North to go towards Nelva Academy. I think you can make a strong argument that United Silesian Legion would try to take Switzerland just for the defensive pressure it puts on there. Poland, I think you could easily see 2-2 split if it's taken. Taking all of Poland would actually help the United Silesian Legion just to be able to reinforce from the bottom of Germany into Germany the bottom of Russia into Germany as needed. You have all the Balkans on the side. That's a toss-up on which way it goes. You probably don't want Austria-Hungary to be pushing for Poland and the Balkans, because between that and getting back defensively, it can get difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. I know that they wouldn't want to hit Serbia straight away, because all that does is it just opens up an extra avenue for another front against them. As well, that capital of Serbia has a really short walk into Austria-Hungary, so what you might do is maybe just let them take the two side provinces and steal the capital and withdraw, just the way they get stuck with a low morale and don't get any of the morale boost from that. If I'm Ottoman, though, I'm strongly considering taking out this just to lengthen that front, but who knows what that is, what they do. We'll take a look through it together. I didn't do any prep work on this one, so I'm just live winging it, and we'll just take a look through this. I was about to say together, but you guys with a little bit of a delay. On here, because of the way that it is, because of the province selection, especially with Italy, France, and Spain, we can see that grain is tipping towards the French team. Fish is pretty even, but just a tiny advantage towards Team 2 of Nelva Academy. Iron ore looks like it's just a tiny bit, just a minimal amount towards Alliance 2. Lumber is heavily in favor of United Silesian Legion, so is coal. Oil is split pretty evenly. And gas heavily favors Nelva Academy. So again, this is another map where the resources are strongly leaning towards the edge of Nelva Academy. They can play this offensively or defensively, just depending on how they feel and on what works best for their playstyle, the players that they have available, especially on the front lines. They can even do just like a little almost like a mix of both, where they have almost Ostrich just playing pure defensively and just massing up for a massive hit coming through France into Germany. That's an option that's there. So let's take a look and see what happens on AI captures on day 2. Pretty much what we figured. All of Portugal that gets taken. Austria does actually push in this way, which is interesting. And they land on Greece. That is a big one, because that'll keep Ottoman busy down low. You see Poland goes to the United Silesian Legion, as well as the Danish capital. Belgium mostly goes towards France, and Switzerland gets split. Not a bad decision to split that. You still have a little bit of an issue down here, but it's not so hard. And United Legion then would have to choose whether they want to garrison that or give it up. Personally, I think getting just the one, you'd want to give it up or hold it with the token force just so it doesn't revolt. But I'm not in their private chats, so I don't know what the discussion was regarding that. But pitch in with your on the comments on what you think you would want to do in that situation, or things that you think might work there. Alternative ways. Do you want to leave just one troop just outside the province for a quick recapture, regardless of who it goes to? Would you be leaving enough, because by then you would have armored cars? Would you want to leave armored cars there that won't lose their, or cavalry that won't lose health but can easily bounce back to wherever they're needed inside Germany? Like Germany, depending on the troops on the borders, you might not even be able to get away with that. So that's a tough call. And let's see. So let's head over into day 3 just to see what happens. So looks like the rest of this slight pushback on down here in the Balkans. Looks like they did take that one capital there, or that one province in Switzerland, and Ottoman recaptured that Greek province, and France, or that's actually another country, but another country through France did take the northern part of former Belgium. So there's some pressure going in on Germany there. And Ottoman has to do a little bit of work there. So let's just see where those goes. So 2 captures there, but no kills. So Ottoman just withdrew. Ottoman and Italy. So Italy moved through and took Nisk and Sofia. So what we're looking at is that right here. So those are the other AIs right around there. They didn't push down into the former ones, and you can actually see here that there's a level 5 fort that went inside there. So even though they had Novi Bazaar and they were working on this from the former Serbia AI, they still decided to hold a defensive position here. And another one here. I would almost... That's tough if I'd want to do that one. I'd almost be tempted to just do Salonika and Constantinople, because in my opinion, you're not... If there's a landing anywhere down to the south like they tried to do with Greece, you're still opening yourself up through that way, and you would have to abandon the one fort. Let's just keep going down and see what else was going on. That's just more AI... Ottoman through Bulgaria. That should have been done the day before. I think doing that over Greece is the better call, especially since Greece down low, you can block it off. No big losses. So far USL was just withdrawing from those areas as opposed to fighting for those areas. So they took it and then they were just withdrawing. So it looks like they left it open, and there's some spy work going back and forth on both ends there. Let's take a look into day 4. Day 4, the one province up here goes back. An island over here gets taken. There's more push work down into that AI there. So now Ottoman is abandoned, and they're cut off there on the end. A little poem. I'll just hover over here in case you guys want to read it or take a screenshot of it and translate it. I might come back and translate it later. We'll see myself, just for my own entertainment. Still not a lot of kills. That's just AI. Nothing big there. Scouts. I'm just trying to see if there's... So it looks like the fighting had not happened yet. Let's see. I'm just trying to see where some of this was going. Same thing. Spies just going back and forth. Day 5. This is the day that the surrender went through. Looks like Ottoman fell. So the Italy landing here, and Austria pushing through. And France pushed through to take the capital of the Ottoman Empire. That's an interesting play there. So they went through Greece. So they went through Greece, and what was I saying before? Salonika. Went through Greece, went around the level 5 fort to make a play on the capital. And I'd bet that once the capital fell, that was when the surrender went through. Hard to recover from that, even though you still have all of this it just comes down to, do you feel you can fight? But I mean, I'm not seeing these heavy troop losses anywhere. So Ottoman and Italy, that's essentially a split. Ottoman only 9,000 more than France. Russia and France there. So Russia was defending in Salonika. Or attacking in Salonika. Not too... yeah, it looks like Russia attacked. So Russia attacked France in Salonika. Let's see. Greece and Ottoman. Yeah, other than that, there's honestly not a lot of kills. Interesting play, but I guess, USL did have that first win against Patto del Mare del Norde, so now they're at 1-1, and their last game would be against Companhia Aguia. So essentially, the last game, everyone here was at 1-1, and you're looking at tiebreakers between all of those. So I'm just taking a look at the standings here, and I'm actually going to put a screenshot of it inside here, just because this is interesting on how Group D is shaking out. You have Companhia Aguia at 2-0, so that's likely clinched. For them to lose would be a fairly big jump there. Nelva, Academie, and USL are both at 1-1, and Patto del Mare del Norde is at 0-2. There's still a path for everyone to make it, considering that Companhia Aguia is facing off against Nelva. Where are they facing off against? I'll have to double check who they're facing off against, but I think that there is a pathway on tiebreakers for Patto del Mare del Norde to come back in and to get the win. They would need an absolutely massive win. Like, we're talking like probably an 1,800 win. 1,800 to 0 win is probably where we're at. I'll try and get the exact tiebreakers, the exact math, and I'll splice it into here on the next cut. We head on over to the next map, which is the Ronins versus La Meute Sanglante. La Meute Sanglante is Alliance 2, and they're located right here. They've got the nice chunk in the middle, Sweden and the UK. We've gone previously over what I think are the struggles with Sweden, and UK typically can easily be left alone, but with the fact they can land in either Sweden or Germany, they can provide very easily good support there. They're also free to pressure Spain and Morocco, so there's a lot of things that UK can do in this area, because their only main threats are coming directly from France. But with France having to deal with the three-headed monster in the middle potentially, with only Spain's help, it makes it very difficult for them to be able to push on this. Let's just take a look here and sort of see through the AI. Portugal, as always, would be going to Alliance 1. You'd probably be looking at Serbia going to Ottoman just to try to get that pressure, or you could easily have La Meute Sanglante pushing down. Just like last time, I think you have to have a strong consideration towards opening up this passageway, and I think you'd want to split Poland if you're La Meute Sanglante. I think that you want to control that border more and not leave that open gap through the middle. I think if you're Russia, you want to do the same thing, because both these teams can be exposed through there, so you want to control as much of it as possible. I think a split is likely. I think Belgium would go towards France, and I think Switzerland will go towards La Meute Sanglante. Finland is in, or Denmark as well. The capital would go towards Alliance 2. This is interesting. We've gone over this before. I always like seeing these Russia-Sweden matchups because everyone plays it differently. You either have a lot of strong defense up top, back here along this line, aggressiveness through here, or a defensive line back here. Like, there's really about 4 ways to play it, but just a combination of how each team can play it differently just opens up so many moves to the imagination. With that, let's just take a quick look through the resources. Grain looks like it's fairly even. Fish, which is actually surprising. Well, not really actually, now that I think about it, because Alliance 1 does have France and Russia, which are the two major grain ones, but the other countries are lower on food, so that's probably where some of that drain's going. Where you have more equality, a lot of fish there, balanced there, a little bit of it's more grain but less on fish, which that covers balance, and a little bit more balance leaning a little bit towards grain. So I can actually see how that would be fairly even. Fish is leaning towards Alliance 1. Iron is heavily towards Alliance 1. Lumber towards Alliance 2. Same thing with coal. UK is really tipping that. UK and Germany are tipping that heavily there. Oil is leaning towards Alliance 1. Oil is leaning towards Alliance 1. And gas looks like a slight edge towards Alliance 2, but fairly even. Some other things that you would, well, what this leans to is that you're probably able to see more of defensive measures being used by Alliance 1 as opposed to Alliance 2, which is an interesting way to play it. You'd almost, in my opinion, because UK has to do a move, I think you'd almost want to create some pressure just to almost force the UK to help out defensively, just to tie up those troops and keep them from being that wild card. Let's take a look at how the AI shook out. Belgium got left alone. That's a shock. Everything else sort of went the way we thought. Serbia got left alone, and looks like I'm just curious about who took that. So Poland went to Alliance 2, as did about half of this AI. That corridor appears to be closed off. We'll see when we get into the further map, but that's pretty close there. And let's see. So Poland goes to Austria and to Sweden. So Sweden helped out in that, okay. Germany just taken out. That's a very efficient kill amount right there. The Portugal one, Morocco should be doing the same. They took out. See, what's interesting here is that there's 14,000 troops that were killed. So they let troops. So troops were let to go north up to where the capital was, but no one lets them go back down south. Which is interesting how that worked out. Romania and the Ottoman Empire, Romania and Russia. Let's see, Poland and Germany, Morocco and Portugal, Romania and Austria-Hungary. So Austria-Hungary managed to take the capital of Romania. That's interesting. Ottoman Empire fully took out Bulgaria for themselves. Okay, and looks like you just get spies that are hitting Germany. Let me just jump back in here. So it looks like, well, I guess we'll see to it later, but it looks like that went back towards Alliance 1. Let's see. Day 3, when you can start fighting other people. Still, this Belgium area is being left open. So right here, you see that pushback happening by Ottoman into the former lands that Austria had taken. I think Austria was just mainly looking just to capture that capital, just to take the boost away. Serbia's still not taken. You have the one island from Italy that's an oil one that's gone, so that's oil going even more heavily towards Alliance 1 and really trying to put pressure on Alliance 2 from an oil standpoint, really just to decrease the amount of armored cards that come out. I was trying to see what that question mark was about. You see Russia takes that, or Russia loses that top province there. That's a bit of a shock, but then considering that they were working on the AI down here, they probably had less troops than Sweden would have been able to get from top. Let's see what happens next on day 3. Day 3, looks like France starts making their move into Belgium. I'm surprised we don't see a counter up there, even if it's just not to balance it out. Russia retakes the one province. and the one province push happens right there. So that's this one here, and that is the one that really, if you're Russia, you almost wanted to hold due to this province being open. We can't see anything that's on here in Vilna. As soon as Poles started getting taken, though, you'd think you would want to start getting forts up inside there, mostly just because you can't really rely on the lack of forts here due to the long roads and reaction times anymore if you lose Vilna, and that also puts pressure on Smolensk. Let's see, let's head on over to day 5, which I think is actually where we currently are at for another 16 minutes. Might do another screenshot after. Looks like Palermo gets retaken by Italy. Let's just see what those kills are on both sides. 6-9. So it looks like they almost abandoned it, but then had to retake it. But then Morocco went and took this island here. So they jumped from 1 to Cagliari. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, so Tunis had revolted down here and joined Italy, and then been recaptured as well. And France finishes off that Belgium hit. Is there any more movement up here? Right back to the original borders. So that's where we're at. Some movement, but it looks like in the end it has sort of stabilized there. Sweden and Russia have some scouts being killed, a little bit of back and forth up top. Italy and Morocco are fighting over the islands. Other than that, it doesn't look like we have anything too heavy that's going on fighting-wise. So, tons of fighting still available here. We'll see where that's at. What are the current scores at? 961 to 904 for Alliance 1 over Alliance 2. So the Ronins with the slight edge. That's really just playing off based off of the AI captures, though. That's that difference there. Leave a note in the comments if you guys see anything that you think could be done. Or I guess if you don't want to wait until later on this, that is something that can be done too. Hopefully I'll be able to get this posted up in the next day or two. So if there's any big changes, I'll try to clip in a screenshot at the end of this one. We are heading in now over to Royaume de Nelva versus La Federacion. You see that Alliance 2 has won. However, this is not the final score. The official final score was Royaume de Nelva with 1,030 points versus La Federacion with 813. I just like clarifying that when the screen pops up, just because it's so good to have accurate numbers, and I don't want people watching these videos just to have inaccurate numbers on there. So let's just go back, take a look how the setup was, and we'll do the quick run through. So Alliance 2 just has that massive chunk in the middle. You do have Ottoman and Sweden being left alone. My thoughts on Sweden being left alone in that chunk, and Ottomans there. AI plays, I think France is probably going to be looking at Belgium. I think, well, same as the rest, except that I don't think that the Balkans will be touched here, mostly because, not initially, because you're able to control going into that one entry. Some people like doing that sneak attack down the side. I've seen it happen, or attempted 3 times personally, or in games that I was tracking. It's something that's able to get a quick strike in on the capital there, but let's just take a look into the resources. So resources, grain leans towards Alliance 2, which is Royaume de Nelva. Fish is leaning towards La Federacion. Iron ore is leaning fairly heavily towards La Federacion. Lumber is a split, slight edge towards La Federacion. Coal is heavily towards Royaume de Nelva. Oil leans towards Royaume de Nelva, and gas is heavily towards there. So food appears to be mostly even, with grain and fish each side having a different strength. Um, Materials are leaning slightly towards La Federacion, but energy more strongly towards Royaume de Nelva. However, they do have the advantage of positioning, in my opinion, strongly there. Let's see. So Belgium gets left alone. Switzerland gets taken out there, and as you're seeing this, so they are pushing straight down. Looks like they're trying to make that move on the capital city. What I think you'll end up seeing next is I think that you'll end up seeing that Ottoman retreats to protect the capital city, leaving all of this part of the Ottoman territories open for Royaume de Nelva to take. You do have Portugal that gets cleaned out as well. Same thing with the Danish capital. And one island down here, which is interesting, look, that got taken by Italy. 2 to 20. I wonder why there were 20,000 troops there, but probably pulled from the other island. That is interesting though, because typically you'd think that they would have been going over to the capital. And they all got killed in Canea. Reinforcements coming in later. Okay. So the initial attack sent 251 to 502. It's not enough time for reinforcements. Reinforcements were already on their way there. He just beat them in. Okay, so Austria-Hungary took out Serbia, but not the capital. Let's see, that's the Switzerland, Bulgaria, Poland. Poland got split nicely. Italy took the capital of Serbia. Okay, so I was wondering where that went. So they split that responsibility just to get more troops over there. All right, jumping on over. Very next move, and what do you know? This side gets taken out. That is 100% because it would have had to pull back to protect the capital. That's there. No changes up here. Looks like you've got a UK landing there, and a push through by both Italy and Germany into France. So France's defenses weren't able to hold. Let's see what that looks like. So looks like they weren't able to do the landing or to defend the landing, so they were too late to get there. Spain got at 8,000 troops over there that died, and France lost 6,000 without killing any. So that they just weren't able to split off enough. Probably because Austria-Hungary and Germany were both pushing in. Losses tilting heavily towards France's side on the loss on both of those, and they had to pull troops away, leaving Italy for a wide open shot. So pretty much where we're at. Ottoman doesn't have a lot of troop losses, which means that they were retreating back towards the capital city. Let's see, Morocco and Italy. That is through Tunisia and Cagliari, but they didn't capture Cagliari, so they tried a landing on the grain island as opposed to the oil one. Let's see, Spain and Italy. So Spain was responsible for holding the south against Italy. Italy is also hitting Greece by then. Oh, which they were before. Sorry, I forgot about that. That was at 2 to 20, okay. And Canea and Larissa. Okay. So they then went in north. Okay. Sorry, I was just wanted to check that, see where that was at. And that's actually where the surrender came in. So France collapsed. Ottoman got pushed back. No breakthroughs anywhere else. And they said thank you very much, and that was game on day 3. So congratulations to Royaume de Nelva on a very nicely executed plan, especially on the AI through here, into Ottoman, and on pushing into France. That landing by UK looks like it was done brilliantly. congratulations to Royaume de Nelva, and I think that actually makes them qualify for the next round. So congratulations on that as well. Alright, so we are back here with World Union versus Profetas. This is actually just day 3 of the map, so they started very recently. About to be day 4. Apologies, that's 5 minutes out. Looks like they got a little bit of a late start on that map. So you have World Union is on Alliance 1, and you have Profetas in Alliance 2. This is a fairly similar setup that we've seen before. This is actually the exact same scenario and setup that we've seen with United Legion versus Nelva Academy. So Nelva Academy was able to get the win, and they were playing out of Alliance 1. So that's Alliance 1 for Nelva Academy, and for World Union. So Nelva Academy had the same as Profetas. They were Alliance 2 on that one as well. Or they were Alliance 2 on that one. So let's see how this map is shaking out. I will let you guys link over to the former video that I had on the challenge. It's going to be the timestamp where you can jump over to that section if you want to revisit my way of looking at that map there, just for AI and everything else. Let's just get straight into how the map's playing out. So it looks like Alliance 2 did not take any AI except for Portugal, which really left the ability of Alliance 1, which is World Union, to push through Belgium, leaving Switzerland alone. They took all of Poland and almost all of the Balkans and Greece. They just left the 2 islands at the bottom there. They even took the capital there, and they're working their way through Denmark there. This is actually going to be probably a big points gap that kicks in pretty quickly. You do see over here that on the pushback, so World Union is able to take out these 2 provinces here and one of the 2 Greek islands left. And they also managed to land on Ireland, so they managed to take out Ireland. This is something that's interesting. Ordine is pushing for a surrender already. What are the points of ours? 300 points gap. And yeah, that's a bigger jump. But honestly, there hasn't been that much capture of the actual enemy provinces. It's just that points gap is just strongly related to the AI captures of what's happened so far. Ottoman Empire in Italy 2-1. That's not much. Spain 9-11. That's AI. Russia versus Austria 6-10. There's France took Dublin without any losses. Sweden 11-80, but that's versus AI. Like, there's really not a lot of kills. So I understand how the points are there, and you're feeling like you're off to a good start, and you want to ask for the surrender. I don't see there being too much of a surrendering option there. I mean, yes, you see the points, and if you're Alliance 2 as Profetas, you see that you're in a bit of a tough point points-wise, but you took an island from the UK. You've actually caused damage to the other team, more than just to AI. Let's just sort of take a look and see where we're at right here. This is just, we're going to get the actual other one. So Italy has that province there, which is Serbia. So Serbia capital went to Italy. That gap is nicely open there for troops to move around. So that Belgium split happened there. It doesn't look like there's anything that's currently happening on here. It looks like Spain actually left the entire capital capture of the Portugal AI to Morocco, which is interesting, because Morocco doesn't really need that morale boost more than Spain. If anything, I might have just sent France down just to capture the capital with like 50 troops and then jump back up as soon as they were done with that. Why not, right? We'll just see where that's at. I'm just gonna jump over just to get that updated one number for you. 1097 to 880. Let's see if we had any revolts that happened or spy hits right today. So Belgrade joins Austria-Hungary, and Ottoman gets hit by spies. But that's I'm not sure why you'd be hitting that with military sabotages unless they can see that there's a fort there. But now, like, you've got this whole gap that's open here, right? Like, there's other areas where you could put different pressure. It's the shortest way in, but beyond that, like, unless you're doing this line right here, there's not much more that's going to be available there. So anyways, this is going to be an interesting map to keep an eye out on. World Union's got the slight edge, but it's far from over. Now we head on over to the next game, Operation Blitzkrieg versus Mano Negra. I just wanted to highlight the fact that while this is the score that shows on here, the final official score is actually Operation Blitzkrieg 1073 to 801 for Mano Negra. Just wanted to highlight that just because that is the official score that goes in. So what we have here is Mano Negra is Alliance 2 in the dark blue, and we have Operation Blitzkrieg in Alliance 1. This is actually the exact same setup as the last match that we'll cover, but I will focus on getting through all of the important stuff on this one, then I'll link the other one over to here. So just looking at this one, based on what I've covered in previous ones, the expectation is that probably you'd have this part of Denmark, half of Poland, maybe half of the Balkans, as well as Portugal and Belgium up top, going over to Mano Negra, and you would probably try to see Operation Blitzkrieg try to take Switzerland, as much of Poland as possible, and if I were them as well, the Balkans, as well as Greece. Let's also take a look over at how that splits up from a resource standpoint. From a resource standpoint, the first thing that you notice is that Alliance 1 has more grain, but Alliance 2 has more fish to about the same percentage. Iron ore is very slightly leaning towards Alliance 2, lumber is leaning towards Alliance 1, coal is Alliance 1, oil is heavily Alliance 2, gas is heavily Alliance 1. So that's leaning towards cavalry is pretty even, but any building of armored cars is leaning in towards being better for Alliance 2. Let's just dig into how this played out. Very first day. So as much of the Balkans could be taken as possible, and all of Poland. Everything actually except for Serbia got taken, that we were calling got taken by Operation Blitzkrieg. Belgium and Switzerland got left alone, while Portugal got taken out by Alliance 2 by Mano Negra. So pretty much what we were expecting, though lately the last, I think, 3 maps that I've taken a look at on in this tournament, Belgium has been left alone. Here, Serbia is very easy to take, and it leaves you an extra bonus capital city if you need it, and you still have the 2 islands down here. Something interesting to highlight is that Operation Blitzkrieg took this island out, which, if I'm not mistaken, does have an oil province on it, which would end up being useful for Alliance 1. And I keep forgetting that this map doesn't have it. I'm pretty sure that Reykjavik is an oil province. I'll have to double check on a different map and verify, or someone can just let me know in the comments as well. Day 3, what you're seeing is not much change down here. Stays the same. Looks like it stays the same pretty much everywhere. Let's just see if there's any kills that took place on here. So just war being declared. Some diplo toggling going back and forth. Scouts killed in the water. In the water? In the water. Diplo toggling back and forth. A scout killed in Kiev. 3 more scouts killed. It looks like pretty much they're just setting up the scouts. Getting over here, Ottoman Empire. Looks like Ottoman Empire might have got caught in the sea, maybe a little bit too close to land, and Russia was able to make them pay. Other than that, though, nothing too serious. Ottoman Empire recaptures Athens, and Italy takes Zurich. So that is the one province that I missed. I would think they would have maybe tried or hoped to take 2, but not worth it. On the next day, you see a push into the south of Russia right there. So it's one slight crack into that armor. I'm just going to pull this up just so it's easier to follow. One small crack into that armor there. Nothing too big has happened. Let's take a look through Russia and see who caused that. I'm pretty sure it's Austria-Hungary. We still have... So Ottoman Empire did a massive attack on Russia. Lost a lot of troops there, just for one province. But Kishinev got taken by Austria, and the kills on there were incredibly heavy, tilting towards Russia losing more. So that's... In that battle there, for Kishinev, for the one province of Kishinev on day 4, it looks like Austria-Hungary and Ottoman lost about 247,000 troops, and Russia lost 108, about 180,000 troops. There's just 180. That's just a lot of troops to lose. Especially that's pretty much everything that they had thrown into the defense of Kishinev, and Ottoman pretty much drained out all the troops they had. Austria drained a lot of troops they had, but if I'm reading that correctly, that would look as though the lines there are broken. In the south, the very next day, you see just pushing clean up further into there. St. Petersburg is threatened. I think that's the double oil down there that's taken. It's just very bad place for it. I'm not switching over to see what other countries are doing, just because, quite frankly, all the action is taking place in there, and looks like there's also a slight push happening in here. Let's see. 128 to 40, not much of a big change. German Empire takes Vilna, just stretching it a bit more. That's just a really that's an all-in play right there. That worked out very well for Operation Blitzkrieg. Just to be able to collapse Russia in that way. Let's just see if there's anything else that happened elsewhere. Morocco and Italy. Morocco tries a landing, is not successful. The island of Cagliari is defended. Spain tries an invasion of Great Britain. That stopped. And that is pretty much it. Just scouts between Sweden and the UK. And that's actually where the surrender took place, was at that point, when probably Russia's collapsing at the point. My biggest question, though, is Sweden's troops. And let's see if they were able to save troops at the end there, if they were putting them out to sea. 3 kills and 14 losses. I'm a little bit curious about why the Swedish troops didn't get as involved there, or if they were held higher up. If there's anyone from Mano Negra who wishes just to weigh in on it, or just to provide more background and information on it, something I'd be interested in seeing as well. With that, though, congratulations to Operation Blitzkrieg. Pretty sure that actually is their second win. Congratulations on that. That's very likely moving forward over to the next round. So congrats on that. We are back with Aibatu versus Iliterna Watahu. Just wanted to say quickly, this one is on day 11, so it's going very, very well. This map is a confusing map for me to read, just to be honest, just because of how all over the place it seems. Aibatu is Alliance 1. They have France, Germany, Russia, Sweden, and Ottoman. Personally, from a strategic point of view, I think that gives them an advantage. Austria is very much exposed. UK is left out in the cold. Spain is hard to be defended. It's just a tough place to be in, but at the same time, there's a lot of borders if Alliance 2 and Eliterna, if Watahu decides to go offensive, could be very difficult for them to make a move. The AI moves that I would see would be Alliance 1 taking Poland, Belgium, a fight for Switzerland, and I personally would be taking all of those Denmark provinces and trying to establish that corridor, but not all teams do it, and I guess we'll see how that pans out on this one. Portugal is solidly towards Alliance 2. I think they desperately would want to take Switzerland and Poland, and I think they would hope that this gets left alone. But we'll see how that panned out and what their strategy was on that. Taking a quick look at the resources, it looks like grain is pretty evenly matched. Fish seems to be tilting a little bit more towards Alliance 2. Iron is even. Lumber tilts heavily towards Alliance 1 to about a 2-to-1 ratio. Coal looks fairly even. Oil looks even. Gas heavily tilts towards Alliance 2. This seems like a very even map. Both teams can get roughly the same amount of cavalry out, though Team 2 a little bit more, and the same amount of armored cars. Very balanced resources maps with tons of expansion and long borders means that you're going to always have some interesting things play out. With that, let's get into it and sort of see what happens. Pretty much what we saw was going to happen. Portugal goes one way. The capital goes to Alliance 2. That's something that's interesting, that they were able to sneak that but not the rest. And Poland, mainland, Belgium, Switzerland, all going to Alliance 1. Does not look like they took any of the Balkans though, so that's let's just keep track of how this moves forward. Ottoman is still left alone there. Not much movement on day 1. The island got captured. Didn't see if that happened last time. What you're seeing is that points are in favor of Alliance 1 right now. That is purely because of the AI captures. When you have that much more AI provinces, it just leans towards you. But the map doesn't really take a turn unless the team with fewer AI captures is losing morale due to resource issues, or until an actual battle takes place affecting the smaller alliance's ability to use troops, or someone loses territory or gets a gap in the lines. That's essentially where it is. You see this part of Denmark is being taken out as well. So we're right now, and the capital goes back there. So at this stage, I'm just going to take a quick run through the newspaper. We're 3 days in. I don't see a lot of fighting between the two countries. Not much there. Not much there. really not a lot of kills that I can see so far on day 5. Then the AI gets taken out right here. This is an interesting move. They're trying to make the play. Personally, I think day 6 is late to be making that AI push. I think Ottoman should have done it a lot earlier. And Spain and France. So Spain tries a heavy hit in France, loses 151,255, and nothing gets captured. That's big there. Austria-Hungary, I don't know what's happening there. Oh, that looks like peace. Yeah, so there's a lot of toggling happening back and forth. Austria's just toggling the hell out of France. Still, Austria and France. Oh yeah, other side. Sorry, I got Austria confused with Germany for a bit on the map. So that's where that's at. Oh, actually, there is one capture down here, where one province gets captured. Let's see what happened. Romania and Ottoman. Romania and Austria-Hungary. So Italy and France, that wasn't it. Germany holds off Great Britain. 17 losses to 50. Heavy losses for Great Britain. And where did that take place? That took place in Aalborg and Haga, so that is on the mainland. Romania and Russia. There we go. So that's what was happening there. Day 7. Another province falls. Let's see. Let's just go straight to France because nothing else happened around there. More toggling. France. Italy with 110,000 losses. France with 118. So France was lucky that they took so few losses against Spain because they just lost the majority of their army right there to Spain and Italy. Granted, Spain is essentially wiped out, but they've got Morocco behind them, able to provide more troops. That's tough because that border is probably close to falling going through, and nothing happens. My guess is that's Sweden. Sweden lands in Inverness. Oh, that's a pretty clean landing right there. 8 losses to 20, and they had more from before. That's a clean landing. It looks like Great Britain was still trying to fight or land somewhere around here, trying to create pressure on it, probably up here in the north, while Italy and Spain are pushing heavily in the south. Unfortunately, it didn't look like that panned out. This corridor is now more solidly maintained. Alliance 1's got a bit of a lead on the points, but it's not as big as you think, and France is in trouble down here. UK, I don't know how many troops are up there, but they could be in trouble as well. Day 9 stays the same up top right here. You've got something that happens. Let's see who breaks through. It's not Italy. Sweden and Great Britain, 62 and 63, but there's no movement on troops there. Morocco took 1, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so Morocco had that push through there. So Morocco has that push through. Germany tries to put pressure on Italy. There's no breakthrough there, though, so this is Morocco's work up there, if I read that correctly. Day 10, that final isolated border province, that's Spain that takes it. No more movement up top. And that's where we are. Cagliari falls. That's an interesting development. And now the points are within 50. This is a very close one. It's a very close battle. It's pretty much the AI versus half of France. But Alliance 2 has lost a lot of troops. Let's see. Italy has lost 145, France 136, Morocco 36, Ottoman Empire 1. Let's see. I'm just looking for big stuff. Sweden 66, Great Britain 73. Yeah, there's some seriously heavy losses there. That's where we're at. Anyways, we're gonna keep tracking it. If you guys think any team should have done things differently, defended differently, maybe rotated troops over based on what you can see off the newspaper as I scroll back, or if you can read the newspaper better than me, there's a bit of a language barrier for me right now. But things you guys might see or do differently, feel free to post it in the comments, and we can all learn and work together off of this. This map is LNZ versus Les Loups Suprêmes. This map ended on day 6, and this is not the final score. The final score was 1,242 to 716 was the final score on there. This is the exact same map setup as Starsie Panowie versus Gem. Generales Estados del Mayor. So I'm not going to go into the whole breakdown of that. I'm just going to link it right back to that one, and let's just see what pans out on here. What we're seeing here is LNZ took all of Poland. Les Loups Suprêmes took Portugal, Switzerland, and and all of the Danish capitals up here. That really exposes them in the middle there. Day 3, Russia pushes into the south through there. France pushes through into Italy. Let's see how bad those kills were on that one. Yeah, let's take a look at that, because there's a lot of fighting. Italy 25, France 0 losses. Where were Italy's troops? That's what I would like to know. For Italy to lose 0 troops... Sorry, for France to lose 0 troops and Italy to lose 25, for it to go all the way down to the capital, something happened there. Not sure what. France and Morocco, let's see. So Morocco was also attacking France in Rome? Or they was fighting France? Okay. Great Britain and Italy, that's just a whole lot of toggling there until war gets declared. Lot of toggling. Nothing much there, nothing much here. Okay, so Russia went to Romania, not to Austria-Hungary. I thought it was close, but I wasn't 100% certain. Let's see. Russia takes the top up here. This part of Denmark gets closed out. France pushes into the top. This is probably revolts back. Italy's collapsed and done already. The former capital there gets taken. Let's see what happens. Italy gets fully taken out. The AI here gets taken out, and when Austrian province is removed, Greece is down to 1 province. At this point, it's 1,088 to 801, but rapidly spinning out, and that's just, you probably had the surrender agreed to take place at the end of the next game day change, and that's why you get these huge pushes there. I'd be interested to hear what happened down in Italy. That's something I'm just a little bit curious about, how that happened. Either way, great job by Faz and France just to be able to break through and make that move. Very, very well done. Very respectable team. Congratulations to LNZ, and good luck to Les Loups Suprêmes on their 3rd map. So what we have here is the legendary Spartans versus Ordine Ashura. I do believe that Ordine Ashura is Alliance 1, and that Legendary Spartans is Alliance 2. This is the exact same setup that we saw for Mano Negra versus Operation Blitzkrieg. So I'm not going to get too far into the back and forth on this. And I'm just going to link it right back up to the first one. Typically, you would see Alliance 1 take Belgium and Alliance 2 take there. Alliance 1 left mainland Portugal up. Strange. The AI managed to take one of Ottoman's original provinces. After that, it's really just AI captures. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that's happened, because I didn't. From day 5, that's pretty much what we're looking at. No islands, no changes, just AI has been taken. Is that... No, that's the Portuguese one. The Polish one, that's... Yeah, there's... Wow. Very quiet map. So we've seen how Operation Blitzkrieg could have played it. This is just AI captures, but you still have all of Denmark here that's open. What are the points at? Points are Alliance 2 at 1,137 for 780. That is purely just the AI captures and morale going up. That's just the Balkans and Belgium and Poland. The capital of Denmark hasn't been taken. Is it still a capital because the flag's there? That is very interesting. Curious to see what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll just pass it up to... Let me know in the comments, and we can just break down a little bit more. Thank you very much for watching this series. I hope you guys liked this type of introduction. I'm trying to do a different type of introduction for every different round. If you guys have any suggestions for some things you might want covered on the next round to introduce the next one, that's something we can definitely look into and do a deeper dive on. So with that in mind, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. The more subscriptions we have, the more videos that get watched, the more we're able to get people to help put up content or support ideas for content that we push through into here. So thank you very much for everyone who already is, and we look forward to pushing stuff out, because this is a channel by the community for the community. So the more we can get community involvement or support, it just makes everything so much better. Thank you very much for all of you guys for tuning in. Even if you guys just watched one specific chapter or watched several or all of it, greatly appreciate it, and we greatly appreciate everything you guys do to help us out here.